I'm a bit surprised I haven't talked about this camera before, because I've had a few of this model and they always work very well. And the camera I'm talking about today is another Olympus, and it's the AF10. Now, Olympus were brilliant at making compact cameras, I think. Small, lightweight cameras which are highly effective and easy to use. And the MJU is a range of camera which I've used before. I've done a couple of videos on the MJU1 and the MJU2, and they are highly competent cameras. This is a cheaper camera, but how does it really compare? And is it a good alternative? The MJUs can easily go for £150 to £200 now. And this can easily go for £30 or £40. The difference. The big difference is, I can't open it now because it's got a film in, because I'm testing it. Well, actually I can open it now because the film has just finished. To load a film, simply place in the back here. I've just exposed a Kodak 400 film, so I'm looking forward to developing that. We have the little counter on the top. You can hear it's trying to load, but you won't get any farther because there's no film out. But we've got this little counter here. We've got a 35mm 4.5 lens, so that is a lot slower than the 2.8 cam. It's the 2.8 on the MJU2, and it's a 3.5 on the 1. So it's a slow lens compared to both of them. Not only is it a slower lens, but the lens hasn't got so many focusing points. On the MJU, we have, I think, 99 steps. This basically has 4 or 5 focusing steps, depending on what you read. It's either 4 or 5. And that means that there's just not quite the same steps when it's focusing. But does that actually matter? It's very compact. You could argue that the absence of, we've got this sliding cover, we haven't got the camshell, which is lovely on the MJUs, but can provide some problems with the switches. I know of less problems with these. I've actually never known of one of these not to work, where the MJUs I have known not to work. It's, as I say, a fixed lens of 35mm, so it's relatively wide angle. The flash is built in, so we've got no moving parts. There's a lot of sensible things about this camera. It's simplified. If I go back to the simple trip, there is sometimes a lot to be said for a simple camera. I might be sounding old-fashioned here, but there is a lot less to go wrong. To use, it's so simple. Open the lens cover, frame, and take. And we've got a focusing point in the middle. And we've got an automatic flash. We have a timer. We can an automatic flash, and we have a self timer. On this camera at the moment, the self timer doesn't seem to be working, but that may be because it needs a film in, because it's saying E because the film isn't loaded. Let's see what happened when I actually used this camera. It was about the dullest afternoon you could find when I took this camera out. I'm using a 400 Kodak film, which I was quite out of date by about 15 years, and actually, although I did slightly develop it longer, it actually came out rather underdeveloped. Having said that, it was such a dull afternoon. I actually am quite pleased with how the photographs came out. This little lens actually performed, I think, quite well. especially as I slightly mucked up the developing of the film. These, after scanning, are quite usable images, and they definitely showed the effect of all this rain we had over the new year in Dorset. Actually, it's continued to rain, and this week in particular has been very wet. But as you can see, the footpath here is very flooded, but the reflections are good, and this is a good little camera for keeping in your pocket. It's a superb travelling camera. It's a camera I've used in the past, and I can see why, because it's nothing to worry about too much, and in value situation, if you were travelling, it's a camera you wouldn't worry about too much. Plus, the most important point is it takes sharp images, and it takes them quickly, and as I said, it's a non-fuss camera, so if you want to do non-fuss photography, in particular street photography, I think this camera has a lot to be said for it. Yes, maybe not the fastest of lenses, but it's a very capable camera. As I said, this 400 film was a Kodak T-Max, and it was rather out of date, and I think that affected the developing. I developed it in D76, and I think I diluted it 1:1 and gave it, from the top of my head, I think I gave it 11 minutes. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.